haven't looked at before, of the network society. The idea, maybe new to us, but the reality is old already. It's already old and passé in certain ways. Because what we're talking about here is a way to describe things, to describe the world. We already live it, we already know it. But for people who are a little bit older, like myself, 10 or 15 years on most of you guys, we didn't have the internet. I didn't grow up with the internet, which is probably incomprehensible. But I didn't have the internet until I was like in end of high school. Started college is when I was really, 96 and through the 2000s. So anyway, before the network society, it's a different world. But by 95, 96, and all through the 2000s, really starting even earlier in the 1970s, were advances in major areas. Technology generally was advancing, but more narrowly, transportation technologies and just the ability to ship stuff and send stuff. Major advances. Right? We could think about the physical nuts and bolts of how Walmart does what they do. They got to get the stuff over here. Anyway, transportation, information technology. That really is it's the internet, and it's more than the internet, but it's essentially the internet and what it allows for. So communication technologies, the two go hand in hand. Okay, so according to Manuel Castells, network society is information-based. When it comes to businesses, their success is going to depend on how they can manage that information and do what we saw last time with logistics, organizing things and shipping things and being all on the same page all over the world now. We saw that with getting products into the store and so on. Okay, so information-based. It's definitely global. People buy and sell on a global scale. Shipping and all of that. Contact with people, and so on. And it's definitely networked. Successful businesses today, what have they done? We'll see one example here in a second with Nike. But they've become information-based, they've become global, and they're now increasingly networked. And their success, their competitive advantage against other corporations, depends on all three of those, especially being connected and having access and control of all this information and all that stuff. So let's take one of the businesses that failed. Kmart's one that failed. That's a retailer. How about a manufacturer that's failed big time? I'm trying to think of just one. Because the big three American car companies have bounced back. But we could pick Ford. Of course, they're doing better now. They're bouncing back and it's solid again. But for a little while there, it wasn't looking good. And Ford was not any of these things in its early days. There's a model of the economy called Fordism, which is based on none of these things. It's based on what's called, anyone in business know the term vertical integration, where you try to make everything from the top all the way down to the tires. Ford himself tried to grow rubber for tires. And so he wanted to control everything from the top to the bottom. He didn't want to send parts all over the world. He wanted to control everything in one place, vertical integration of the whole business. Today that's not the case. And so now we'll get to an example here of globalization and a case study of Nike. And we'll look at them as a case. And this too is an old example, but we'll go through it step by point. Okay, so Nike. That's our case study. Oops. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this real quick. Take a look at the notes. Okay, so Nike here in, where is it? city in Oregon, right, is where they started. Is still, and we'll see, one of the most global companies, corporations. They've got factories here all over the world. Only a couple in in the United States, here in Canada, a few in Mexico, China, right? And then we get to a few in Europe, and then Asia, a lot in Asia. If we were to look at the number here and click on the thing, how many do they have there in China? There's going to be, let's see, we don't have to number that one. The other one had the list of the number of factories, the actual list of, okay, 300. I've seen other ones with like 20 to 30. Okay, so here is China, and then back to here, and so we see, how many Argentina? Yeah, 11 there. Okay, so let's come back to here and look at this case. Nike, of course, is a multinational corporation and a global super brand today. I was gonna state too, full disclosure, I happen to like Nike a lot. I went through a period of time when I was younger where I was like, I'm not gonna buy any Nike shoes, I'm not gonna buy any Nike products. But then you start to realize, when you I don't know, maybe I should stop there and just to say full disclosure, I like Nike. So this isn't I'm not slamming Nike myself, but let's look at it. Maybe we will at the end. I don't know. Okay. Global super brand. We all know Nike. One of the greatest. I think they make a great product myself. But Nike, of course, is a symbol of the global economy today. And they were one of the first shoe companies to start outsourcing. They were not as competitive in their early days as they are now. They were falling behind Adidas and Reebok at the time. They thought that one way to increase profits and productivity was to try to start outsourcing. In fact, they started in Japan, or they were an offshoot of a Japanese company. So the idea of outsourcing, being global, was kind of in the beginning. But anyway, one of the first shoe companies to really start outsourcing with tremendous success. Once they started outsourcing, their profits went up and up. They became, more and more recognizable. On and on. They became very successful here. And now we're, talking about the 80s and 90s. By the mid-90s and even before then, late 80s, they started to change their business model to start putting more and more money into marketing and sponsorships. One of the biggest ones, of course, you guys know, is Jordan. And Jordan stuff is still huge. If you look at like East Bay catalogs or basic catalogs, Jordan stuff still, kids love Jordan stuff. So he's one of the big first, sponsorships because he was so recognizable. Anyway, that's it's a different model than what Adidas was doing. You can't even name who the Adidas athletes are. I don't know. Maybe there's a few basketball players, But anyway, point being, sponsorship, getting some high-profile person on board with your product. So they put more and more money into that end of things. Michael Jordan, if you look at how much he makes today, it's like X number of times more than what like an entire country makes in terms of what they pay the workers, which is, again, I'm saying that glibly, but point being, they started to put more priority into branding and creating the brand, and they put less priority into the needs of the workers. To that last point. And we can look at the numbers and so on. If we want to get into that, it's going to vary country by country. Okay, so reactions. Now, a lot of the reaction against Nike, I think, has died down today. It's not that big anymore. But when I was in college and in high school and a little bit later than that, there was this huge backlash against Nike. This is 1990s, mid-90s, late 90s. And there were claims that Nike was using sweatshops to produce their product. What did this involve? What did this entail? Well, obviously we're talking about low wages. That's number one. So underpaid. A lot of cases, child labor. These aren't just accusations. This is reality. Typically mistreatment and poor working conditions, but a movement towards taking the skill out of making shoes, and making it just a real step-by-step process, and a process where you remove the skill, just make the product. Okay, so Nike's reaction, and things have changed a lot since the 90s, but this is, again, part of this recent history. Nike's reaction was that, well, look at how they do business. Their claim was they're not responsible for what these factories that they've subcontracted to are doing. At first their position was, that's not us. That's we're subcontracting to them, but we're not responsible for the working conditions and so on, etc. We're just buying the product that we are importing, because that's essentially what you do when you subcontract. Nike's not making the product; they're subcontracting. Their designers are, of course, they're designing the product, but not the actual construction. That's how it can be so cheap. Okay, anyway, so Nike in the past, it's really died down because Nike's done so much to try to respond. But Nike, McDonald's, we know, Coca-Cola have been symbols of Western corporations, that have spread around the world, for better or for worse, depending on how you feel about it. Oh yeah, the point I was trying to make earlier with, once you stop buying Nike, it's like, well, Adidas does it, they all do it. Every shoe company has outsources now today. Reebok says 1 out of every 4 of their shoes is made in the U.S. Try to find another shoemaker that is in the U.S. exclusively. I would make that up. I give a 2-point extra credit or something. I don't know, because I don't think there are any.
New Balance makes 3 shoes that are in the United States. I just know that because I work at a shoe store.
They have, it's like 1 in 4 though, right?
No, I just know New Balance, they have like 1 factory that's the United States. So they always say that they're an American based, but
yeah,
they're not really.
Yeah, so they've got 1 at least, but
right.
Yeah. But
I'm right track.
Yeah. So it's hard to find, American products here, shoes or anything else. Okay, good. Okay, excellent point there. Okay, so global economy, emerging markets. That's just a term that people have given to, I'm not going to ask you the nations here, but these are some examples. But just a term given to countries that have benefited greatly from Western investment. Our businesses are in the United States or Western, doing business. And here we could take the side of Nike. I was just reading their webpage and on workers' rights and things, and their argument is, once again, that raises the standard of living in the countries where they provide a factory and brings money in to their countries. And there's a point to be made for that, maybe. Again, it's debatable. These are heated topics, and so on. So, rapid growth in these countries. All right, I guess we're close. Let's turn now to another topic. It's similar here with what we've been talking about, and it's really, I guess, the broader picture. But slightly different frame of reference here, I guess. Starting with questions like, why societies change, what is modernization, and what is development. You'll see some connections here to the things we've been talking about here too. Okay, so we'll look at each one of these here. Starting with social change. So just general ideas here for testing and so on. Hopefully most of this stuff, after you see it once, you you get it in your head, and it won't be, won't be too hard to remember a lot of this, hopefully, like with Nike and some of those issues. Hopefully with this stuff too. All right, so social change. Is it inevitable or unstoppable? According to most people, including the author I'm looking at there, yeah, by and large, it's hard to stop social change. Time keeps moving forward. Although it can be very slow in some cases. And once again, if you've had a chance to take an anthropology class, or if you watch National Geographic, or whatever, you can see there's some societies that are doing the same stuff they've been doing for, in some cases, almost thousands of years. So it can be slow. Okay? Now our question here is what can speed it up, and we'll think about that here as we go. Theories now of social change next. Just two of the major theories and ways of thinking about how societies change and why they change. First set of theories are cyclical. This is an older type of theory, or an older type of way of explaining history and how the world works. Not too many people prescribe to the cyclical theories of change anymore. Basic idea was that history repeats itself, that just like a calendar, February comes every year, over and over. Same idea with social change. Societies will grow, civilizations will come and go, civilizations will rise, they'll decline, and another civilization will start up. And the great civilizations of, say, Rome, is Rome a great civilization today? No, but it once was. Even the UK, the United Kingdom, the great British Empire, was a great kingdom, right? Not around anymore. But another one, rose up. And history seems to repeat itself. Okay, so that's one way of thinking about history in the future. Another model is based on a different sort of way of seeing the world and seeing the future. These kinds of theories are linear in the sense of they're headed in one direction. In terms of math, if you're studying algebra right now, what's the linear equation there? I'm not sure. Anyway, headed in one direction. Leading towards, typically, most people think this way, towards something better, towards progress. Okay, so, good there. All right, development. The idea of development. We're going to get to a short video clip here in a second that lasts about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Change gears there too. Just a minute. Okay, so the idea of development, again, it's an old idea. It starts to spread with the colonial era. Our video will help describe that too. Hopefully you're taking another history class. You talk about colonialism. We're going to talk about it just a bit here tonight. All right, so development. Understood as the improvement of mankind. Things are getting better. The world's getting better. We're all headed towards something much, much better than what was in the past. In terms of practice and applying the ideas of development, basically what we're talking about is trying to establish or institute modern ways of life, in this case, Western ways of life in a lot of ways, or modern social institutions, into the undeveloped world. Societies and the countries, the nations that haven't developed along the same path. The thinking back in the day was that these undeveloped countries were backward. Culturally, they were backward in terms of what they were doing, and that they were trapped in this, this kind of culture of stagnation, of cycles and of way of never getting out of anything. You're always trapped in your growing patterns and your seasons, and things will just repeat itself. That's really the cyclical view. Okay. Let's look at one more idea before we get to our video clip. On development, here, which was that the way to develop, the way to become modern, was to industrialize. To get out of the agricultural society as the main economy, and to move towards industrial economy and urban societies. The idea was, because these thinkers thought everything's moving in one direction, life's getting better, we're all headed towards something, some sort of improvement, that development was just natural, it was necessary. All societies are going to do it, why not speed it up a little bit? We're all going to develop, and so on, we're all going to modernize. Let's